Greetings, viewers, and good evening. The League of Women Voters, Anoka Blaine Coon Rapids, welcomes you to this forum for candidates running in the 2024 election for Minnesota House District 35B. My name is Leslie Waterhouse. I'm a member of the Anoka Blaine Coon Rapids Area League of Women Voters. I live in Sherburne County and cannot vote for any candidates for this office. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization that does not support or oppose any political parties or candidates. The League encourages informed and active participation in government. We advocate for important issues and help citizens become informed voters. We welcome all who are interested in learning about a variety of issues to join our organization. Just go to lwvabcmn.org to learn more about the League. This candidate forum is about informing voters. It's held to provide voters an opportunity to hear from candidates on important issues and compare their ideas. The views expressed are those of the candidates and not those of the League of Women Voters. Thank you to CTN TV for recording the forum and making it available for multiple showings and online. Editing is only authorized for official media reporting excerpts. Edited clips of candidate forums may not be used for partisan political purposes. Voter questions have been submitted online in advance. No additional questions will be taken from the audience during this event. The candidates for House District 35B are Carrie Raybauer and Steve Pape. All candidates running in this race were invited to participate in this forum. Steve Pape was unable to attend. Welcome, Carrie Raybauer.
Thank you.
We will begin with the two introductory questions received in advance, followed by questions submitted by the public via our website. We'll end with closing statements. Answers are limited to 90 seconds for each of the two introductory questions and 1 minute for questions submitted online and 1 minute for closing statements. Time limits are strictly enforced, so when you see the timer hold up the card, please they'll be indicating the time is up, so please finish up your sentence and then you can stop. So for the first opening question, what is your motivation to run for this office and what experience or knowledge would help you serve effectively?
Thank you. Well, first I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for all that you do to support our democracy through voter and information, education, and also voter registration. And thank you for holding the forum tonight so folks can learn a little bit more about, where I stand. My husband Dan and I, we bought our home in Coon Rapids 24 years ago. We've raised our two daughters here. And I was a busy working mom, and then something would change the course of my life. In the fall of 2018, teaching at St. Francis Middle School, we came back that year with 20% less staff than we had the year before due to budget cuts. At the time, we had one counselor for 1,000 students in the building, and that year, for the first time, I had a student attempt suicide. Fortunately, they survived. And when it was time for them to come back, I wanted to ensure that there was a re-entry plan in place for this student. And I went to all four of our support staff, our counselor, our social worker, our assistant principal, and our principal, and they didn't know who this student was. So I felt our kids were falling through the cracks. And around this time, I had a conversation with my husband, and he said to me, if you want to make a bigger difference, you need to grow your circle of influence. And that's what I did. I ran for the city council in 2020 and won against an incumbent. Been serving for 4 years. Now I'm running for the Minnesota House to serve our community.
Thank you. What are your goals for the future of House District 35B?
Well, my primary goal is that I want everyone in our district to be able to thrive. I will fight to help you with your daily costs. I will make childcare and healthcare more affordable and make sure school breakfasts and lunches stay free, which will continue to help you with your family grocery bill. We need to also continue and expand on the child care tax credit and the elimination of the tax on the Social Security benefit. We also need to really work to reduce the cost of housing. Young families can't afford to buy a home, and rents are just too high. And this is because we have a shortage of all of our housing types, which is driving up costs. As your representative, I will work to remove unnecessary regulations that are stifling the housing industry. I want the American dream to be able to be realized by everyone working full time. So if you're working full time, I want you to be able to buy a home and start a family if that's what you choose to do so. And in order for this thriving to happen, we need to work together to tackle these issues. People are tired of politicians who are extreme or who run for office just to stifle getting work done at the Capitol. On the Coon Rapids City Council, I listen to my colleagues, and even if I disagreed on an issue, I work together with them to deliver for the people of Coon Rapids. And I believe that by working together is how we solve our toughest problems.
So next are questions submitted by the public, and you will have 1 minute to respond for each question. The first question is, do you support a Minnesota Equal Rights Amendment? Why or why not?
So I think we're talking about the ERA, and the answer is yes. We want to make sure that we have equal rights for all. Everyone in our state deserves that. I also support that this becomes a constitutional amendment here in Minnesota.
Thank you. The second question, if elected, what legislation, if any, would you support to address the need for affordable childcare?
So affordable childcare has become a large issue, and it's a bigger issue than just the affordability piece. It's also a workforce issue. We have a labor shortage in Minnesota and across the country. And one of the barriers to both parents being able to work is the cost of childcare. And because it is so high, oftentimes it makes more sense for the family to have one of those parents stay home. Well, we don't want that to occur. I support I support assistance so that folks don't have to pay more than 7% of their budget on childcare.
Thank you. Please share why you support or do not support the use of ranked choice voting. If elected, would you support the local options bill, which would give all jurisdictions the option of adopting ranked choice voting?
Yeah, thank you. I do support that, especially the local option. Basically, what we're saying is we're allowing the local area to make that choice for themselves. So I think that makes sense. One of the reasons why I support that is because a candidate can only win if they get over 50% of the vote. So we know then that this candidate has the support of the community. Another reason why I support it is because it expands the openness of our democracy. It is the way that a third party in the future could possibly have a chance to win an election. Right now, we're very two-party oriented, and so by ranked choice voting, we would be able to see more diverse candidates and more than we've ever had before.
Next question. Given that the bonding bill failed last year, how do you plan to ensure that needed projects in the area get the funding they need for the next 2 years?
Yeah, so this is an important bill, and it really needs, this is where I'm talking about the work getting done at the Capitol. So it did fail due to gridlock and specifically partisan gridlock. So I think it's important that we can work across the aisle and have relationships across the aisle so that we can get bills passed that are important to our communities. So I, as your representative, I will work across the aisle and I will work hard to get a bonding bill passed in our next session for our community. We need to ensure our infrastructure is safe and up to date. It supports our local community. It also supports our local economy when that takes place.
Thank you. Do you support the gun laws passed by our legislature? Please speak to background checks, red flag laws, and/or binary triggers.
Thank you. Yes, so I am a Moms Demand Action Gun Sense candidate because I support common sense gun safety, and that's what these bills are. So guns are actually now the leading cause of death for children and teenagers in America, and this is wrong. As a teacher, I saw how each time a school shooting happened, kids and educators were scared to come back to school. This must change. I support the common sense gun safety bills we passed recently, including universal background checks and the red flag bill, which were supported by our police departments because they do want the ability to protect us from dangerous people. And whether you're at school or the grocery store, you should be able to feel safe. Minnesotans deserve to feel safe. And I do not believe we need weapons of war on our streets. We can balance our Second Amendment rights while still ensuring the safety of our communities. Law-abiding citizens and responsible gun owners should continue and always keep the right to have guns.
Thank you. What is your stance on qualified immunity, and do you think that changes are needed?
Oh, this one is a good question. So I think what this has to do with is our police being automatically immune to prosecution for certain things, if I'm correct. So I want to make sure that we always have. I think of this as not an either-or issue, but an and issue. We have to ensure public safety and support for our police departments, and we have to hold them accountable. So we have to be able to do both. We need to make sure that we have the ability to hold our police accountable if they are acting, because there's in every career, in every sector, there's always going to be bad actors, and we have to be able to hold those bad actors accountable. That is also how we rebuild the relationship with the community, is by doing that.
Thank you. What changes would you make to existing programs to better assist those who choose to age in place?
Oh, great. Yes. So I think what we're talking about here is being able to, our seniors being able to stay in their own homes after retirement and as they age, and I definitely support that. It actually is a win-win in multiple ways because it is less expensive for a senior to stay in their own home than to be in a nursing home. So I think some ways we can do that is by increasing the property tax refund for seniors. We also need to, again, continue and expand the elimination of the Social Security tax on the benefit. Other ways we can do this is by making healthcare more affordable, especially for our seniors. The recent Prescription Drug Affordability Board was a great way to have now this board that is going to look at the cost of prescription drugs, and if somebody is overcharging what they think they should be, they can do something about it and take action.
Thank you. What is your plan for supporting public education?
So as a public school science teacher, this is at the heart of, what I care deeply about. And as you heard in my introduction, one of the main reasons that I'm running for office. And when I talk to our residents on the doors, they want to ensure that their kids are receiving a quality public education that prepares them for the future. In 1971, we had what's called the Minnesota Miracle in Education, if you want to look it up. So we moved from a local property tax funding model to a state tax funding model. And we became, after that, one of the best in the nation for education. But now today, our schools have less funding than they did 20 years ago. We have slowly moved away from that state funding model because it hasn't kept up with inflation. And what happens is our local school districts go out for local property tax levies, and we end up with very different outcomes depending on where kids live. And I think that every kid in Minnesota deserves a well-funded, quality education, no matter their zip code.
Thank you. What is working well in Minnesota, and how would you support and strengthen those things?
Well, wonderful. Well, what is working well in Minnesota? One thing is our business community. We, here in this region, we have a thriving economy. As a Coon Rapids City Council member, I've had the pleasant opportunity to see a lot of new businesses come to our city and the expansion of our retail centers. Minnesota is actually ranked number 6 in the country for business, and we have this ranking because of our educated workforce, our infrastructure, and the quality of life here in Minnesota. So we know that by investing in our state, we also grow our economy. And when I'm out talking to residents and I ask them on the doors what brought them to move here, either to the state or to this district right here. And it is the parks and trails, it is the safe neighborhoods, and it's the good schools. So we have to continue to prioritize these. There is much more work we have to do to strengthen our public schools, like I just talked about. When young families are looking to buy their first home, they're looking for those top schools.
Thank you. How would you work with other House members to pass legislation you support?
Oh, that's great. So specifically how, I think the key to most things and success starts with building relationships. So, reaching out, having those conversations, meeting folks for coffee or lunch in advance of time to get down to work in a committee or time to vote on a bill. So building that connection and communication. There's also a caucus that is established by Representative Feist that is about working together and working across the aisle and being civil. So I would like to get engaged with that caucus. And, it also is about trust. So when you have a conversation with someone and you say you're going to support something, then you do support that with your vote. You can't share with a group or constituents, then say, oh yes, I support that, and then go vote against it. So it's about relationships and trust.
Thank you. And that is the end of the questions submitted by the public. So now it's time for closing statements, and you have 1 minute for your closing statement.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for setting up this forum. This was fun, even though I didn't have, an opponent to rebuttal. And thank you to all of you who are watching the forum. Keeping our democracy strong requires your active engagement, and that's what you're doing. You're engaging, so thank you for that. I shared a little bit about who I am with you, and I just want to remind you, as a mom and a union member, I care about our workers and I care about your family, and I will always fight for what's best for our community. And as a teacher, I know what it's like in our schools today, and I will work tirelessly at the Capitol to lower class sizes and increase mental health support so our kids can be successful. And as your representative, I will fight to ease the burden on your family budget. And if you want more information or you have questions for me, feel free to reach out to me through my website. It's kariformn.com, KARIFORMN.com, and connect with me. And just thank you for listening, and thank you for moderating.
And thank you, candidate Ray Bauer, for participating in this forum and for running for Minnesota House District 35B. And thank you to those who submitted questions. And thank you also to the City of Coon Rapids for the use of the facilities and to CTN TV for your recording. The League posts complete and unedited clips of forums. Links to all forums are located at lwvabcmn.org. And you can also find additional information on candidates online at Vote 411. If you're interested in the League of Women Voters, visit our website, again at lwvabcmn.org. People of all genders, 16 years of age and older, are welcome to join. The general election is November 5th, and early voting began on September 20th. You can register to vote, update your registration, find information on voting options, and find your polling place online at mnvotes.org or the Minnesota Secretary of State website. Is it mnvote.gov?